And 29 verse. Yes? 28 or 29? Huh?
8.
Oh. 20. Oh yes, of course. Turning in the diligent. Diligent is, of course, whatever in the successful activity in the worldly or on the spiritually, everything is completely depends on our diligence, you know. Someone is like, we say in the Dharma perspective, someone is a little bit stupid, difficult to study, but such diligence. This diligence is like can to destroy even the like mountain mirrors. And therefore something is diligent, they all the time the end to be the winner and the end very much successful. And therefore to practice the transcendent of diligence is very important. Of course, diligence antidote is the laziness, yes, that is obvious. And also it's like diligent is like kind of helper of the all other paramatas, you know. For example, we can see the 4 paramatas are really virtues, accumulations. It is like kind of more activities. And the compassion aspect. And then is the wisdom as the paramata is like more wisdom, empty aspect. And then is the helper, it is like paramata is the diligent. Diligent necessary for the generosity, diligent necessary for the discipline, diligent necessary for the patience, diligent need meditative concentration, diligent need for the wisdom. Diligent is like service, diligent is like helper for the all other paramatas. Even the Shavakas and Pachika Buddhas, for their own benefit alone, are seen to the strive as if they were putting out a fire that was burning on the head. To practice diligence, the source of the qualities, for the benefit of all beings, it is the Bodhisattva practice. And those is like lesser practitioners. What does it mean? Lesser compassion practitioners. Shabaka and the Pachika Buddhas. Shabakas is like more is like a kind of lesser practitioners. And Shabakas, there are many different groups of the Shabakas. And for them, like a kind of understander of the Buddha's basic teachings. It is like a kind of maybe only that they came to study first teaching of the Buddhas, like a principally Four Noble Truths. And of course, they are like a principal subject matter is the Four Noble Truths. And then, of course, they are studying the truth, relative truth, absolute truth. But it's like, for them, it's like to practice compassion is very complicated. And it is like a kind of, for them, it's like most difficult things is to practice compassion, bodhicitta. And they want to become quickly enlightenment. Of course, enlightenment means it is like kind of arhat. This is the terminologies. And of course, it's like the lesser, this Vika's perspective arhat, and Mahayana's perspective arhat. But this same noun or same sound, but meaning is completely different. You know, it's like Mahayana's arhat is the perfect arhat. And it is like a kind of, they generate perfect bodhicitta, enhanced by the non-conceptualizations, and they train in the fully, the 6 transcendent, purified fully, like these 4 obscurations. And then the achievement is like entirely, purely, utterly, and they are achieved the enlightenment. And Shabaka and Pachika Buddhas, sometimes we say it's like the left the arhat, or it is like not completed arhat. Can't just arhats, because they still need to apply the Mahayana's great vehicles path. For example, according to the attitude of the lack of the compassions, and of course maybe there's lack of the wisdoms, and sometimes they couldn't purify it to obscurations, and difficult to realize it. And then there is like the achievement of the enlightenment, a little bit defect, and there are errors. I mean, it's like principally they have inconceivable like death, and that means it's like they can be, when they become arhat, and of course they are kind of to be in the state of the neither presented or absented, and to be in that statement, and then it's like there is not much disturbing emotion, but also we could say they have some subtle emotions. Their emotions is not negative emotions, but you can't say negative emotions. There is something subtle, according to cognitive obscurations. And also we can say inconceivable death means when they be in the level of the neither present or the absent level, and then it's like to sit there and to maintain in this peace. But then it's after 8 years, their karma is exhausted, and then they need to come back to apply the Mahayana path. And then this one is like, for them, is like inconceivable kind of the death. And this sort of a little bit have like this. They are like, for their benefit, how much their own benefit alone, how much they are astride, as if they like kind of putting out a fire that was the burning on someone's head. For example, if someone's head, if you put a fire, this person cannot just like stay peacefully. Immediately want to take out this fire. Like this, and all the Pachika, Shabaka Buddhas, they practice very hardly, they practice patience diligently, and their own benefits. Of course, too, it's like to practice the diligent. It's like a kind of the benefit of all the other sentient beings. And then we need to such quality, how is it diligent? It is the necessary. And therefore, it's like all the time is to keep in our mind which is important, never to give up, need to continue to practice the diligent. Therefore, and the diligent is the opposite. That is the laziness. And also laziness, there are many different laziness, you remember, but it's like all those laziness, it is our hindrance for the practice Dharma. So all the laziness are the big obstacles in the stop to life, for the forced life of the enlightenment. And therefore it is very important to have the diligent. We can to say is that to be in the path of the Buddha's path, to take the great airline of the Dharma, and to fast sit well of your diligent, to practice quickly to be enlightenment. And it's like this, and when we practice positive things, and particularly in the Dharma activities, we need to diligent. Generally, is when we do negative things, how much we are diligent persons. And whatever we need to hardships to bear, we are doing to bear that. But some positive things is when we do, is all the time there is obstacles, tiring, encouragement, laziness, and postpones, and it's like, oh, not today, tomorrow, and all the times there are a lot of excusement. Today like this, there are no problem. Tomorrow is the until we die. Like this, and it's all the times it's like to remind about the diligent and to practice the vast sense of the diligent, and the source of all the good qualities is come from the enlightened things, and then it's like virtues to dedicate to the sentience. I'm a little tired. Sorry, I want to stop. So